One person died, several injured after a stampede at a rap concert in Rochester, New York. The stampede occurred after false fears of shooting sent crowds surging towards the exits. But police said that there was no evidence to prove that shots were fired inside the concert. It also said that injuries to victims appear to be a result of trampling. Rochester mayor described the incident as a tragedy of epic proportions and said that those responsible would be found and held accountable. According to reports, the Israeli Air Force has carried out airstrikes at an airport in Syria. The attack took place today during the wee hours at Aleppo International Airport in northern part of the country. There were no immediate reports of casualties, but local media say that the airport has been shut down. Following the strike, Syrian air defenses were also activated, but it was not clear if there were any interceptions made. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Monday announced that an independent special rapporteur will be appointed to investigate alleged Chinese interference in Canadian elections. He also announced separate new probes into the suspected foreign interference. Trudeau said that a rapporteur will be an eminent Canadian who will have power to make recommendations on foreign interference, including a public inquiry. Canadian media, they've recently published detailed reports alleging schemes to run by China, to interfere in Canada's elections in 2021 and 2019. Relatives and neighbors of a child killed in Argentina on Monday attacked and ransacked the home of an alleged drug trafficker who was linked to his murder. The 12-year-old was killed last weekend during a drug gang shootout. Angry neighbors surrounded the suspect's house and threw stones at the man as he went out onto the roof. Police fired rubber bullets to disperse the angry neighbors. Officers arrested the suspect and two members of his family who were taken to a local police station. After the arrest, the protesters ransacked and vandalized the suspect's house.
Ahí sale la mujer y la hija del narco, ahí están saliendo detenidas, las estamos viendo en primer plano, ahí salen las dos, ahí tenemos la imagen en primer plano, ahí la vemos, se la van a llevar, la camioneta acelera.
Mexican authorities have found 103 unaccompanied minors inside an abandoned truck trailer in the eastern Mexican state of Veracruz. The authorities made the announcement on Monday and said that most of the children belonged from Guatemala. In addition to children, 212 adults from countries like Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador and Ecuador were found in the trailer as well. Authorities discovered the trailer on a highway without a driver. It was outfitted with fans, a partially ventilated roof, a structure that created a second level inside the trailer. The children will be put into custody of Veracruz's family services system, while the other migrants will be processed to determine their legal status in Mexico. Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador on Monday shed light over the case of kidnapping of 4 U.S. citizens. During a news conference, López said that local authorities are looking into the matter. The 4 unidentified Americans, they were shot by gunmen in northern Mexico and were then kidnapped. They were kidnapped after crossing the border on Friday. Mexico's president said that Americans that crossed into Mexico to buy medication. The United States, too, on Monday announced that its law enforcement was in touch with Mexican authorities, as were the Departments of State and Homeland Security. French finance minister on Monday announced that a deal has been fixed with the country's main supermarket chains to help shoppers cope with food price inflation. Under the deal, shoppers will be offered the lowest possible prices for a 3-month period on selected items, which will be left for them to choose. The discounts are expected to cost retailers hundreds of millions of euros. From June, retailers and government officials will reassess the situation and may ask large consumer goods suppliers to renegotiate prices with the retailers. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Monday said that the country would continue to defend and strengthen Bakhmut. The eastern city has become the center point of the war, with Russian forces trying to capture it for the last 6 months. The announcement comes as a surprise, as less than a week ago Zelenskyy had hinted towards retreating from the town. But during his latest video address, the Ukrainian president said that he chaired a meeting with top military brass and told them not to retreat from their positions. Hundreds of Congolese displaced by conflict in east of the Democratic Republic of Congo marched through Goma on Monday. They demanded aid and improved conditions in camps in which they are currently living. Many of the families who fled the clashes between the M23 rebel group and the Congolese army, they're now sleeping in shelters or in precarious tents built with plastic and sticks. Earlier, during his visit to Kinshasa, French President Emmanuel Macron has said that his country, as well as other European partners, will be supporting the people affected by the conflict in the east. But those who took part in Monday's demonstration were skeptical that they would receive any kind of aid. Jewish settlers and Palestinians clashed late on Monday in the West Bank town of Awara. It was not immediately clear what sparked the violence, which comes during the Jewish celebration of the holiday. Videos obtained showed a group of masked settlers throwing stones at the Palestinians in shops and in cars. Following this, groups of Palestinians, some armed with clubs, kept watch in the area for more clashes. Israeli troops were also present at the site. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday criticized threat to refuse military service which have been made in protest against its judicial reforms. He said that such threats endanger Israel's existence, adding that there is room for protest but no space for refusal. This came in response to a letter by 10 former Air Force chiefs who warned about grave and tangible threat posed by the judicial overhaul plan, as reservists said that they would not turn up for training in protest. Turkish opposition leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu has emerged as the main challenger to President Tayyip Erdogan for this year's general elections. The six-party opposition alliance named him as their presidential candidate on Monday. Polls suggest that the presidential and parliamentary votes in 2 months will be tight, with the opposition bloc running slightly ahead of the governing alliance. The bloc has vowed to reverse many of Erdogan's policies on economy, civil rights and foreign affairs. Residents in Istanbul on Monday gathered in a local park and lit candles to remember those killed in the February 6th earthquake. The candles surrounded cards with names of 11 cities impacted by the earthquakes. The organizers said that the candles were symbolic of transitioning from darkness into light, which they believe was required by the country at this point. Iraq on Monday began enforcing a 2016 ban on alcoholic beverages. The move has raised fears of putting social freedoms in threat that some Iraqis attribute to growing clout of Islamic religious parties. Enforcement came into effect when the law got published in Iraq's official gazette 7 years after its passage by the parliament. There is no official reason for enforcing the law after this amount of delay, but many believe that the religious parties have more influence on current coalition government than it had on its predecessors. Under this law, imported alcoholic beverages are prohibited and cannot be sold in local markets or be replaced by domestically manufactured versions. Refugees in Cox's Bazar camp in Bangladesh on Monday worked to rebuild their homes after a devastating blaze engulfed the camp. Thousands of people tried to retrieve their belongings from the ashes. The massive fire destroyed homes, sent thick black clouds of smoke through the area on Sunday before it was brought under control. The refugee camps are prone to such blazes. Funeral prayers were held for 9 Pakistani policemen who were killed in a suicide blast on Monday. Senior military and police officials attended the ceremony, which was held at Central Police Office in Quetta with full police honours. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the suicide bombing attack in southwestern Pakistan that killed these policemen. A suicide bomber rammed a motorcycle into a police truck in the Balochistan province. Record rain snowfall in recent weeks has eased half of California out of a persistent drought. It has bolstered the store of mountain snow that the American state relies on to provide water during the warm, dry spring and summer. Authorities said that there was nearly twice as much snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains as typical during this period of time. It also said that the snow was dense and wet. This means that it holds nearly 170% of the typical amount of water for this time of the year. At least 15 people were killed, dozens feared missing after torrential rain and landslides battered one of Indonesia's outermost islands. The remoteness of the village where the landslide struck in the Natuna region of Riau province, combined with poor weather and downed communication lines, complicated rescue efforts. Video showed that mud and debris from landslides inundated houses.
Dari atas puncak bukit, sekarang sudah jadi sungai.
Atlanta City Council still passed legislation.
24 people will face domestic terrorism charges in Atlanta after they were arrested during violent clashes at a police training center construction site. Authorities said that 23 people who were detained launched bricks, rocks, Molotov cocktails and fireworks at officers after they breached the construction site. The site, called Cop City by opponents, has been the scene of escalating confrontation as demonstrators oppose both the increasing militarization and the construction in the forest that its defenders call the lungs of Atlanta. A total of 100,000 lit candles illuminated the Thai temple in Pathum Thani on a Monday to honor Lord Buddha during Makabuka Day celebrations. Thousands of worshippers dressed in white attire and monks participated in the ceremony. The celebration took place open to full capacity for the first time since a 2-year hiatus due to COVID-19 pandemic. The funeral for one of the 12 Thai boys who were trapped in a flooded cave with their soccer coach in 2018 culminated on Monday. Ashes of the boys were scattered into a river in Thailand's northernmost border province. Family members, accompanied by monks and fellow mourners, released ashes of the boy identified as Duang Phet from Thep in a makeshift boat along with soccer balls and some of his prized possessions into the Mekong River.